Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Movie Combat. My name is Ryan. Joining me on this is,
This is Nate.
and it is this is actually a reason for us to be apart now. We actually are recording in two separate places this time.
Yep. Gotta force it now.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you. Yeah, there
No
you
pun
go.
intended.
Yeah. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are just two movies away from the season finale. Actually, no, one movie away now. After this episode, we will be one movie away from the season finale of Movie Combat Season 2, and it has been quite a journey. We've watched a lot of Star Wars there, Nate.
Yep. Not doing the Mandalorian?
Okay, well, we'll save TV shows. I haven't thought about TV just yet, but we may have to walk away from Movie Combat to do like TV shows and stuff. But for now,
Yeah.
Movie Combat is strictly just movies at this point. But nevertheless, this is Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and I almost forgot the name of this when I was looking it up. When I was looking up the movies I had, I was like, is this the right one? But man, the names in this get all convoluted towards the end of the saga here. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so what if you guys are new, which is crazy if you are, but if you've jumped into this episode of it, Nate and I will walk through the movie. We will go through IMDb's notes and stuff that they have for their taglines, their trivia, quotes, and some tech specs. But nevertheless, oh wait, should I say the fun facts, the PT facts?
Go for it.
Okay, so the crawl in this episode was 1 minute and 24 seconds and 65 milliseconds. So it beat episode 7 by 2 seconds.
Mm.
Let's see here. It's not the slowest, or not the longest. I guess. Wait here, 124. Yeah, episode 6 has 26 seconds, 1 minute 26, and yeah, that might. Yeah, nope. It's still the longest one. So that episode
6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a bad feeling about this. Was said 0 times, which was insane. Lightsaber moments got out of hand. This movie, I have not. I mean, I've seen this movie several times, and I'm pretty sure you have as well.
Yeah. Well, now, did you count his guard? Snoke's guard?
I did not count those.
Okay, because then that would have really been insane.
Yeah, I just counted anytime. Remember, lightsaber moments are when a lightsaber gets unsheathed. Only one of them has to initiate a lightsaber moment. All right, okay. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, one goes off, the other one goes off. That counts as 2. It's just when the one goes off, that's until the scene is over. It just counts as 1. 7 times in this movie.
Wow.
But episode 7 had 8, so I guess not the most. I'm wondering if 7 is a pretty good amount here. No, episode 3 had
2 is probably 3 higher than. Okay.
Well,
I guess you count it as 1, like so, all the Jedi in 2.
Yeah, I did. I was not going to count the rave. That would be like off the charts. 14 for episode 2, 17 for episode 3, and they have the number 1 spot. Yeah, this one was interesting. Like keeping track of these numbers and like writing them down. It was an interesting process to like think about this movie with these amounts of things in it. Space battles, we got 3 of those. Which stacking up against it ties with episode 4 and might be tied for first place with Space Battle.
This one's kind of interesting because it's kind of just like one big space battle throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
did you just kind of
So
count the separate scenes?
I counted anytime it was like some sort of action in space was happening.
Okay.
So let's see if I was to count them. There's obviously the beginning of the movie, and we'll get into that. But or maybe we'll go when we'll go through it. Maybe I'll be able to count them off. R2 came in clutch one time, and the one time I'm counting it is when he shows Leia.
to convince Luke.
Yeah. Light speed. Nate, how many times do you think light speed was hit in this movie?
Oh.
Between 1 and 10.
I think it's only. I want to say 4 times.
4 times. Okay. I counted 6 different times.
Wow.
Light
Yeah,
speed
I'm trying
was
to
hit.
keep like the Holdo maneuver in there where she like blasts through.
Yes, I did count that. I did count that one too. But
I'm trying to
still.
think, Ray probably goes
Mm-hmm.
a couple times to and from Octu.
Mm-hmm.
I know in the beginning they used it one time to escape, and then but then the First Order used it too, right? To catch back up to him.
I did not count theirs, so
Oh,
maybe I did.
maybe
Maybe I
7,
did.
huh?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Either way, it's the most light speed you'll ever see in a Star Wars movie so far.
Interesting.
Planets. We got 4. So we got the one that was the Rebel base. What one was that? Do you know what that one was?
The Rebel base.
So the one they're on at the very beginning
Crate?
of the movie.
Oh, the beginning.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So there's that
I don't know.
one.
That's the one that's in 7, right?
It is also in 7. Yes. But it
Yeah, I'm
starts. The
blanking on
movie
it.
does start on that planet, and then there's Luke's planet.
Octu.
Okay, and then there's Canto Bite,
Oh, yeah, Cancel Bite.
and then there's Crate.
Yep.
So four planets. Not the most, but because Episode 7 actually beat it pretty well. I sense a disturbance in the Force 0 times was not said. Jedi powers. Okay, so this is I had to discuss. I took 2 separate numbers on this. Jedi powers. I counted 19 times that the Jedi power, like any
Must have your
Force
phone out a
power.
lot.
Yes, I had it just out and open at a point because I was just like, there's so many times it was used. 19 times. So that's any time someone uses a Force power, light or dark side, it counts. Now,
Yeah, that was a lot. Especially in
here's
the
the
throne room
thing.
scene.
I have another count, which is 6 additional more times if we count the Rey and Kylo back and forths. So, should we include those? Because that's technically like a Force power.
But they don't purposely do it.
They're not doing it, but Snoke is
Right.
doing it. So it's like,
That's true.
does that count as Snoke using it? Because if so, then then I add
Which I'm
6
kind of
more.
confused on that one. I guess we'll probably get to that in the next movie. But
Yeah.
yeah. I guess if we're saying that Snoke is because he does say that he's the one that created it. So
Yeah. And they do it
I
on
guess-
separate
I guess so.
occasions, so it is separate at times. So 25 times Jedi powers were used. Which is the most
Jesus.
than any other movie. It's actually if I was to combine 9 times in episode 7, 4 times in episode 6, 4 times in episode 5, 5 times in episode 4. Yeah, it takes almost like 6 movies to stack up against the 25.
Yeah, it makes you realize how conservative the original trilogy was.
Yeah. May the Force be with you was said twice, but then there's also the time where she says, May the Force be with us. So does that count?
I was thinking about that. Like, what? When is Ryan gonna count?
I'll give it to him. I'll say 3 times.
It's close enough. Yeah.
Yeah. She goes, May the Force be with us. And she like pauses at the last word. I'm like, oh, all right. All right, and that's all the stats I have for my fun ones. So let's go through the movie. Nate, what the heck is happening in the beginning of this movie?
Well, essentially, the First Order has found their base, and they are trying to escape. It's kind of like a Hoth moment. They're trying to get off planet, and they're about to get disintegrated by this like giant ship. Um,
The Dreadnought. Is,
the Dreadnought, yes. Poe. I was gonna say Finn, but not Finn.
uh,
Poe is kind of going off like cowboy, and he's like single-handedly like shooting the turrets off the Dreadnought to kind of distract them. And so and then they call the bombers in, the Resistance,
Sorry.
and pretty intense scene. Yeah, I know we're kind of
Yeah.
bouncing all through here, but yeah. Eventually, only one. They only one bomber gets their payload off,
Mm-hmm.
and they take out the Dreadnought at the cost of many, many lives.
Yes.
So you pretty much lose like their whole like fleet, like
Their whole
just to take that
bombers,
Dreadnought out.
all their bombers are gone now.
Yep.
And then our boy Finn wakes up
Finn
after
wakes up.
and
Wants to know where Rey is
where is Rey?
immediately.
Yeah, the first thing he says.
She is where we left her at the end of 7, handing Luke his lightsaber back. And then he throws it off to the side.
I remember seeing that for the first time, and I was like, "What?
Definitely subverts your expectations.
Yeah,
sure.
because I was not prepared for it.
Yeah, I think that's the moment where the movie gets controversial for people.
Yes. So that happens. Rey's finding out that Luke is not really who she thought he was. And
yeah,
then,
he's all old and grumpy now.
and then we go back to Kylo's story. So essentially, the way that this movie is, breaking it down, we have Rey's story, we have Kylo's story, and then we have the B character story.
The side characters, yeah.
Yes, we have the side character story, which is interesting of how Rian Johnson did this movie. There are technically 3 different storylines going on. They all interweave.
That meet at the very end.
Yeah, that meet at the very end. They interweave with each other every so often. But if you were to look at a timeline, there's like a red line, a blue line, and a yellow line. And the yellow and blue mix pretty well, but the red line, which is Rey's, never really comes into play with the yellow until like the very end of the movie. So it's very interesting of how they like, it's like almost like Ryan's whole entire goal was like, how do I get her back together with the rest of them? And she's like, okay, well, here's the storyline for him. And I want to know what it would be like if you cut this movie, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes, like in a way where you do have it like that, where it's like, here's Rey's story, here's Kylo's story, and here's the side character story.
Instead of going back and forth.
Yeah, because it's so weird of how they bounce back and forth from each other.
But if you think about it, 5 is kind of like that too. Where you have like Han and Leia are doing their thing.
But there's only
Chewbacca.
2 storylines.
There's only 2. Yeah, you don't have like Finn and Rose's story in there.
Yeah.
Like a comparable story to that.
Yeah. So anyway, we come back to Kylo's story, and we now see Snoke for the first time ever.
In person, yeah.
In person, yeah. He's not as big and gargantuan as we thought he was.
Yeah.
But what happens here?
Essentially they're trying to. So Snoke's like grilling them for. Well, oh god. I mean, that's a terrible spot to pause. Well, before this, he was grilling Hux on the loss of the Dreadnought and how that happened. But at this point, he's grilling Kylo on how he lost to Rey, essentially, and giving a hard time about the helmet and really putting him down, talking about how he's kind of like not worthy to be like Vader's, like the next in line for that.
Yeah, and smashes the helmet. The helmet gets smashed.
Yep. So Kylo smashes his helmet.
Yep.
I get the feeling that Ryan did not like the helmet.
Yeah,
Ryan Johnson.
Definitely. And then we go back to Rey's storyline.
Yep. Back to Doc 2. she's still trying to convince Luke, or following him around at this point, trying to see what his daily routine is.
Yeah. Which I do
A lot
like
of
how.
humor in this movie. Watching it back.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Because like this humor is definitely different than the humor that we got in episode 7. Because in episode 7, you were able to take BB-8 and have him as the comic relief of that he's a droid, he does goofy things and whatever. But
Right.
then it was like, well, now we need to have everyone have like interspliced moments of some sort of comedy and laughable moment. And it's very weird, and I don't. It's like
I guess that's true. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
more of the characters doing their own comedy, I guess.
Yeah, which isn't normally like a good meld because then you're constantly like laughing at the movie where it puts you in this mindset of like, okay, well, am I supposed to laugh at this or is it just weird? Like we're paused right here in the movie where Luke is essentially he's drinking the freshly squeezed green milk that is and oh god. And it's very interesting that like they give Luke this thing to do. Like it is, but then you're like, am I supposed to laugh at it or what is this? Like what the
Yeah, I
hell
guess
am I
it's kind of
watching?
funny when the animal turns over and looks at her.
And
Like,
then
what are
she
you
looks
looking at?
away because she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that looked like a stunt double right there,
yeah,
right where you pause.
yeah, yeah. So then he goes fishing, and we
Get the
got
porgs
some-
all over the place.
yeah. But yeah, just really it's Rey looking and watching Luke do his daily shit.
She's like, you have plenty of time.
Yes,
Then
that is
later when
that,
she says that, but
that is one of my favorite lines in this movie where it's like, yeah, you're not doing anything. I've seen what you do. You have
Yeah.
time. But then she senses something though.
yeah, she senses like there's a dark presence on the island, basically.
Ooh, the ancient.
Oh,
text.
yeah, that's. She can sense the Jedi text there.
And then Luke
And
finally
Luke's like,
asks,
"Who are you?"
Yeah. I'm from nowhere. And then
Like,
yeah.
oh, Jakku, that really is nowhere.
Yeah. There's the back and forth between Rey and Luke this is when he eventually says like, oh no. He hasn't officially confirmed that he's going to help her yet. He's just still like
Right.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then from this, we cut back to our side character storyline, which is essentially the Leia storyline, but it's weird because there's like so many sub things to the other storyline. It's like it's very weird of how this movie is just put together. But yeah, it's so this is the scold. Oh my god, this is the scolding that Princess Leia gives to Poe for his actions.
Yeah, is this when he gets demoted?
Yes. And Leia reveals
Oh yeah,
that.
she's talking about how Rey can find her way back to the ship.
Yeah, because she has a tracker. So here's the thing about that. I started thinking, okay, so Rey can find where she's at, right? They can find where Princess Leia is, essentially. And we never got explained how they can find them, right?
The First Order?
Yeah. Like
Not
through
really.
hyperspeed.
There's a little like side lore, like in Rogue One, they find like the project of, when they're going through all the like code names. I guess one of
Okay.
the code names is like how like the Empire had was looking into the tech to track people through light speed.
Okay.
But
Because
yeah,
my
it's not
thing
really
was,
explained well through the movies that they
Yeah.
have that now.
because I was like, are they hacking this? Like, is this the reason why they're able to like track them down? But yeah, because it was
No, I think
like,
it's supposed to be a separate thing.
yeah, okay. So, got it.
That would have been a good storyline though, if they're like, oh yeah, we hacked into their like personal tracking device for Leia or something.
Yeah. And this is Snoke's ship right here, right? We're getting a
Yeah,
shot.
fucking massive. The
Yeah.
Supremacy. Isn't it called the Supremacy? Or
I
something
don't
like that?
remember. But we got like a whole butt ton of Star Destroyers around here.
Mm-hmm.
So things go sideways. They find out they tracked them through the hyperspeed or
Right.
space, whatever.
And the resistance is like shocked, and they're like, "Whoa, how did they do that?"
Yeah, and then kaboom, things are not going great for the
Yeah,
rebels
Kylo
here.
blows up the whole hangar. Kylo has such a badass ship in this movie.
And then something happens though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so eventually, so Kylo was almost going to pull the trigger on blowing up the what do you call it, the
Cockpit.
main deck of the ship for the Resistance. But he hesitates, and then a couple other fighters they blow up all the main crew. So Akbar dies. All the Resistance's main people. Leia out in space.
Okay, so here's the thing about this though. So Leia doesn't die here. Do you
Correct.
think it would have been too much to have her die here?
I think it'd have been kind of weak for just
That
a main character to die like that.
okay. Because I was just thinking, because I'm like, what we know now of what happens. It's just like, was it okay to have this, or
Oh, in
was it okay to
hindsight?
have her this like space wizard moment of her floating? I guess this is the first time we get to see Leia actually using the Force, though.
Right.
So
I remember in the theaters, I thought it was really cool.
yeah, and
I
then
know
I
some
saw
people
the
don't like
memes.
it. They thought it was like over the top or something.
I saw the memes of it, and it's like every single time I see this now, I always think as soon as her eyes open, it's that. And then I was like Barracuda starts playing,
Yeah,
and I was
exactly.
like, what the hell? So every time I see this scene, it always reminds me of that meme, and I can never take it seriously anymore. Anyway, back to our Rey storyline. Yeah,
Getting one
Chewie
of those comedic moments,
Chewie has this moment with the porgs and just is
looking them up.
So here's my thing though. He's already killed him. So like why not just eat it? You know?
Because he feels bad.
But they're already dead.
I know, it seems like a waste now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it cuts away. We never know for sure if he eats it or not.
Well, he puts it down.
Yeah.
So but Luke sneaks onto the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see the dice for the first time, really.
Yeah, kind of a cool moment. Lots of throwbacks here.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is the only time we see Luke on the Millennium Falcon. The whole rest of the movie.
That is true.
Yeah. So,
I
actually
never
do
decides
have
to
these
leave
dice.
with them.
Yes, that's pretty good. But I have these dice though that are actually in this.
Yeah, you guys are from Disneyland, right?
Mm-hmm. So this is the R2 and Luke moment. And then he finally agrees to help Rey out. Okay. Back to our side character storyline.
Yep.
Oh, she's actually in this scene. She's just sitting here.
Well, because this is when they make her leader.
Yeah, okay. By the way, I like this BB-8 right here.
Oh, I never noticed that one before.
He's blue.
He's a different
and
one.
black. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, so what's going on in this?
They're kind of giving the summary of, who all died, all the leadership, and then they're just naming who's next in command now.
Mm-hmm.
Commander Holdo, I think is her name.
And she was significant for some reason. Poe knew who she was.
Yeah, she was supposed to be some commander from a different ship or something. And obviously, this is the first time we see her in the series. I don't think she's in any books or video games I know of.
Yeah. Now we're on the Finn storyline.
Yeah. I think this is where it gets extra for some people. Yeah, this third storyline that you're talking about.
This is the fourth. But yes, we get introduced to Rose, which is a absolute thrown away character in the but like I have some words I would like to say about this situation, but I'm gonna wait until the very end in my
Okay.
review. But yes, Ray and Rose, because why name them a different letter? But Rose and Finn have this back and forth, and she talks about how her sister died, and it turns out she was actually one of the bombers, and she was actually the one that presses the button to light the bombs and blow up the dreadnought, which is cool but sad.
Very clutch.
She thinks that Finn is trying to escape, so she tases the hell out of him. And then they kind of explain some things of like, hey, there might be a way to, get out of this. So they go back to Poe and talk about how they have this elaborate plan to like shut down the tracking so that they can hyperspeed off and they won't be able to track him. So then they call their old bounty hunter mistress Moss.
Moss Kanata, I think. Yeah, she's in the middle of some battle, but she still picks up the phone for him.
Yeah, which looks way more fun than what's happening over here. Back to the Rey and Kylo storyline. So these now are intertwining. And they're able to kind of sense each other for the first time.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, very first time it happens.
And Luke walks out and goes, "Hey, what happened there?" And then turns out she blasted a hole into a wall.
Yeah, another funny moment where you see all the native species on the planet having to fix everything up. I can't think of the right term for that.
Yeah.
The natives.
Yeah. So, yeah, Luke has now agreed to train Rey, so they go to this like rock to go, and she sits on this thing, and then he says, "Reach out and feel the force," and he takes a blade of grass and tickles her hand and says, "Oh, do you feel it? It's the force," and then smacks the crap out of it. So yeah, that happens. But she senses something. What is she sensing?
Well, essentially, the kind of like the dark side of the island is kind of calling to her, and so she kind of gravitates right to that. She's sensing the force, and then Luke notices that too, and that's when he kind of stops the training for the day.
Mm-hmm. Or he wants to stop forever at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we go back to our side character storyline for a brief moment. And now, am I correct? Whereas this is
She's the granddaughter.
She's granddaughter
I think so.
of Carrie Fisher.
Yeah,
I thought she
believe
was
so.
the daughter of Carrie Fisher. I guess the age would be. That means she'd be a little bit older.
Mm-hmm. I think she's actually in all 3 movies too, isn't she?
Yes, of the trilogy, yes. Of this current trilogy. Yeah, so we move on. We start going. Now they're not related in the movie, but they are related in life.
Right.
So Finn fires off, leaves, escapes, and
Off the Canto Bight.
Yeah, they're leaving now. We go back to the Rey and Kylo mixing. They see each other again. Rey's not too happy with him. Yes. And then we go back to our side story, our Finn and Rose storyline, which now they are they're going to our casino planet.
Just landing.
Okay, so here's my thing about this. This whole thing could have been all avoided if they didn't land on the beach. Like, why did they land on the beach? You know what I mean? Like, they weren't crashing.
Point.
They just chose that, you know what, we're going to land here. And then a guy, it's not like they weren't told they can't park there. This dude tells them, hey, you can't park there. And then they just leave him alone and they walk into the building as if nothing is going to happen. Like, if they didn't do that, they would have got the guy.
After them.
they would have got the guy. Yeah, there was no reason. No one was looking for him. No one had reason to actually like deal with anything. It's just so weird.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess there was probably some actual ports for them to land at.
I would assume at this casino planet.
Yeah.
um. So yeah, Finn
And see,
is
originally watching the movie,
okay.
I thought the which we haven't got to that scene yet. I thought the guy they meet in prison was the master code breaker they were looking for,
Mm-hmm.
but it turns out not. He's just a different, happens to be a code breaker.
Yeah. It's very interesting. And then they find the guy. They find the guy. And then the dude that told them don't park here snitches on him, and then the police arrest him. Like, they could have got him. So we have this like totally thrown away character that didn't even need to fucking exist, honestly. Like, they could have easily just said, you need to go here. I'm guarantee you'll find someone that will actually help you. They could have just said that. Like, but instead they introduce this character that never comes into play again. It's just so weird. And they even give him lines. It's just so weird how they did that. Anyway, we're back to Rey's story.
Doing some training.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
So it's funny, like we were talking about, like, oh, he's probably gonna stop training her, but he's right back down there again. She's doing some. First, she was practicing with her staff, and then she decides to practice with the lightsaber, and then she starts knocking over some shit, and the caretakers are pissed.
I will say this is probably the funniest scene where it's just
I was laughing pretty hard.
The stone just falls down and she doesn't even apologize.
I
know. Oh man. She's like, they already hate me. There's no reason for me to say anything.
Yep.
So yeah, now we go to this. Luke explains why Kylo was, the actual true story of what happened. And, no. This is the first story we get told.
Yeah, I think you get told like 3 different times.
Yeah.
Each time we get like a little more info.
Yeah. So the first time Luke doesn't mention a very key portion to this story. But yeah, he says he just failed Kylo, and that's kind of how that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Skipping along here, we're jumping back to the side characters. One of the ships runs out of gas. They blow it to smithereens, and the escape pods go back to the thing. I like how they have this barrier thing. This like map that shows when they enter in the zone, and then they just blow it up.
Oh yeah.
Was it necessary for this guy to be here to die? Like other than
probably
just pride?
not. I think it fits the theme they were going with the film.
Yeah. So that's it's yeah. This whole thing is just all about when you run out of gas. So
essentially, they're just going against the clock.
Yeah. So now we are on the Finn and Rose. Yeah, Finn and Rose storyline. We're on Kentavite again.
They're in prison.
This guy, his character reminds me of the bum that's on the train in Polar Express. Even though that is played by Tom Hanks, so it's not actually this guy. Now, what other movie was he in just before this? Oh, he's the collector.
He's the collector, and then he's also in those. Oh God, he's in those like cartel movies. I can't think blank on the name on those.
Yeah, I just
remember Del Toro, isn't that his name?
Oh yeah. Let's see. What is his? It is not even listed as like a main.
Is he not on the top?
He's not even a main cast member, which is interesting. Yeah. No. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. Benicio del Toro. There it is. As DJ. That's his name. But he breaks them loose. They escape. Now they have like, oh, maybe he can actually do stuff. Oh yeah, the weird horses.
Foghorns.
What are they?
And they're called foghorns?
Oh, I don't know. Isn't a foghorn a rooster?
Maybe.
It's so weird. They're like a horse.
It's like a horse dog kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very weird. Yeah, we'll see that kid later.
Mm-hmm.
Which is still also very weird. God dang it. I did like this guy that comes, this little goblin
the
guy.
bunny guy, yeah.
Oh man. Essentially what's just happening is they're escaping now, and they
Yeah, she wanted to break him free, and so they break him free.
Yeah, and they do, and then they're like, well, now we're stuck, and then then the side
DJ, I guess.
yeah, DJ picks him up,
and BB-8.
yeah, and then they get out of there. Easy as that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't accomplish anything. It was, but for the most part, they don't accomplish any of what they were actually there for. They just got a guy and left.
A random code breaker that they decided to trust.
So now we're back into Rey's storyline. Luke is playing with rocks again.
Yeah, I think this is when he reconnects to the Force briefly and like reaches out to Leia.
Oh yeah, that's when he says Luke, and then he goes Leia, and then that's it. But we're not done yet. Rey has another moment with Kylo.
Shirtless Kylo time.
Yeah, shirtless Kylo time.
Swallow.
What? But he tells his side of the story, which is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
He says that Luke was going to kill him in his sleep, and that's why he was like, wait! And then he gave up on the Force because they're all just going to turn anyway, and so that was it. But then Rey goes venturing out after that conversation and falls into a hole of water, and what is this thing?
Well, it's like a mirror. So this is like the dark spot that was calling to her on the island, and she goes and reaches out to it.
And we get this weird effect of mimicking the her. It's just a reflection of her, and she just does all these actions to go like, is this as weird as I think it is? And it is. So, when I saw that, her snapping, it always looks weird of like how she snaps, but it's just a regular snap. But you never really look at
you
someone
just don't pay
snapping.
attention to it like that.
Yeah, because like you know that it's when you snap your fingers, it's actually not the friction between your thumb and your middle finger. It's your middle finger smacking against your inner palm, and that's how you snap.
Oh, interesting. Never thought about it that way.
Yeah, so it's like that's where actually the sound's coming from. You're just causing it to have enough pressure to then, when it hits, it has that snap effect. Anyway, she goes, I want to know what my parents are. And then it turns out, well, we're not going to get that answer yet. Because
still a mystery. Yeah, it's very, very ominous.
Yeah. Then we go back to having this little intimate moment between Rey and Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
They touch each other's hands.
Yeah, they're getting pretty good at this Force thing down.
Yeah. But they get caught in the act.
So I'm wondering, because Luke kind of reconnected with the Force, was he able to then sense that they were doing that over
see
there?
him finally?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I think it does imply that Luke was able to see Kylo briefly, so maybe.
Yeah. Because like before, he wasn't able to see Kylo, but then but Kylo could see him. That was what was interesting. And then now that he's able to, he has the Force again, he's able to do it. So then we get a Rey versus Luke fight.
She's pretty mad.
Rage.
Just trying to defend himself.
But then she kind of pulls the trump card and pulls the lightsaber out.
Yeah. Now, did you count that as a force move for Luke
Oh yeah, when he almost
when
hit
he
his
caught
head on
himself?
the yeah.
Yeah.
So then he finally tells the real story of how this all happened. Luke senses evil inside of Kylo, and he was about to he was like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this. There's so much darkness, so much hatred. I need to just wipe him off the place, face of the earth here. He pulls the lightsaber out. Then he goes, oh, wait, this is not the Jedi way.
Yeah.
But it's too late. A scared boy fights back. And we see that Kylo or Ben chose to have a blue lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there like a thing that determines which color you get?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like canon, but from what I've heard, it's like blue. You're not super strong with the Force, but you're like good with the saber. If you have green, you're like have high Force powers.
Mm.
And if you're purple, you're basically Samuel L. Jackson. And you have to have that color.
So they have this argument, Rey and Luke's just like, fine, you know what? Fuck it. I'm burning it all to shit. I'm gonna just light the thing on fire to get rid of all the texts and whatever. And someone shows up in this scene. Why don't you walk us through this whole process here?
Well, so he's like, screw it, I'm gonna burn down the Jedi texts, and then he kind of gets second thoughts, and then Yoda pops up and completes the job for him as a Force ghost.
Like, how much power does someone have to have? And yeah, then we get this. I gotta watch this part here. Hold on.
Get classic Yoda, yeah.
Oh wait, he was still laughing. Hold on. I gotta get this clip here. This giggle he does.
Skywalker.
So
Gotta have that as one of your macros on your stream deck.
yeah, that is. I mean, Frank Oz is from his time with the Muppets to having Yoda. It's just fun seeing like a Muppet walk around again. Like, and when Yoda showed up, when I saw that Yoda shows up, I was like pleasantly surprised that they went, like, Ryan did choose to have Muppet Yoda. Like, we didn't get CGI Yoda.
Right.
But yeah.
And then Yoda knows that the texts are actually not in there, but Luke doesn't know that at this time.
That is interesting. I didn't consider that at the time when I watched this, like, recently. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, so they did just burn it down, and then at the very end of the movie, it turns out Rey stole the texts and put them on the ship, which is funny that she did that, but yeah. That's when she obviously like gave up all hope on Luke.
On Luke, yeah. I'll teach myself.
Back to the Finn and Rose story.
So now they're gonna try to going back to the I think it's called the Supremacy, but the First Order's main ship. Gonna try to sneak on board.
But we find out some information that Finn did not really want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, DJ's kind of going over the gray area, talking about how both the Resistance and the First Order, they get essentially their weapons from the same people.
Yeah, that's where all those gamblers and high rich hoity-toity people were getting all their money from.
Right. It's like they don't care.
Yeah, as long as there's money involved. Back to our side character storyline, and it seems like things are just getting worse by the second over there for them. They lost another ship, though they had escape pods on those ships, so they all came over to the main one. But anyway.
Yeah, this one Poe's getting pretty pissed. He wants to know if they have a plan.
So this was another thing that was just weird. Like, I just cannot understand it. in any way, shape, or form is why did she never tell Poe the plan? Like, why?
Well, they try to plant the seed because he's so reckless that so they don't trust him at this point because of what happened at the very beginning.
I mean, sure, but he's only mad with the fact of he thinks that they have no plan, so he's just getting worse. Like,
but they also know what she finds out anyways. But they know that he's not gonna like the plan. I think it's part of it too.
Well, he doesn't find out what the whole thing is until they're on the escape pod, like until Leia's back. He has no idea.
He sees
what's
right
happening.
now that they're powering up the escape pods. That's what's he's like. So we're giving up. We're abandoning ship, and he doesn't like that at all.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'll concede to that one because I that was what just happened here, and I now knowing that and asking that question, so he's not even involved. He wants to stay and fight. He wants to take him down.
Yeah, he's a fighter. Yeah, he doesn't like the idea of escaping, fleeing the conflict.
So now we're getting the Finn and Rose story interweaving with the side characters. They have now said, "Hey, just so you know, we didn't get the guy, but we got another guy." And Poe's
another random guy.
Great. So that's away. Now we're back to Rey's storyline, and we're on the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm. And they have this weird plan that she's just gonna like float onto the ship through a little pod there.
Yeah, what is they just had this whole entire time in all of the saga. This has just been on the Millennium Falcon. Is this like
the first time they need to use it?
I guess the single serve pod.
Yeah.
But very convenient.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so now we
like a
go
little casket.
She goes onto the ship. Kylo gives her a nod, and then the stormtroopers arrest her. Now we're back to Finn and Rose again. He's not even pressing buttons in that scene. And this is also a weird thing. I mean, Star Wars has a lot of these moments of, like, literally if anybody checked on that, it would have totally been screwed. But, like, right there alone, if you saw that one of the force field lines went down, would that not be a thing you want to report? Like,
yeah, hit a little button to investigate it or something.
Yeah, he didn't even do that. He just tapped on the like metal, and it like went back to normal, as if that would be a thing. Like,
yeah,
you're working with faulty equipment. You're the First Order. Like, but anyway, now there's a mutiny. Poe thinks, you know what? The people that are in charge don't need to be in charge. They are not qualified. We're gonna stay and fight. And so
very small mutiny too. So apparently, only takes like 4 people.
Yeah.
To take over the ship.
Is that an iron?
That's the iron.
Yeah, it is. That's what I thought. I forgot about that. They make it seem like it's a ship landing, but it's actually just
in the theater. You're like, what is that? And that's iron.
So we're back to
trash can over BB-8.
Yeah, we're back to the Finn and Rose story. So go ahead. This is your favorite droid that pops up here.
Oh, yeah. BB-9E? Mm-hmm.
Which is literally also the only reason why this whole thing goes to shit as well. Like, he like tattles on him. He's like, wait, that's
he sees
not
something
normal.
Suspicious.
Yeah. He's
floating trash can.
See, that's the thing though. That is the thing that Star Wars doesn't run into very often. And and Rian Johnson actually put a situation where one of the things that's rolling around sees something that's out of the ordinary and goes, you know what, I'm going to report that.
Yeah.
And it turns out is a droid. So,
yep.
Now we're back to Rey and Kylo.
Yep, Kylo's bringing Rey up to Snoke. They're both trying to, like, turn each other at this point.
Yeah, you know, with this being on mute, you can kind of see more of acting wise of how they're interacting with each other, and you do kind of sense that there is something kind of sparking here just because they feel connected to one another. Mm-hmm. But like otherwise, yeah, so anyway, but that's also just the acting and things, and I don't know if that explains more of writing or whatnot. But anyway,
Right.
so we are now here in the chamber.
Dope ass throne room.
Kylo's like, "Yep, I'm just gonna take a knee here." Oh, I went way too far back. So we're gonna skip that. It's just mainly it's just Snoke, measuring his dick the whole time. It's just like, yep, I got you, da 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 da. Nope, you thought it was all a thing. I caused all the connections. I was the reason why. It's all that. Anyway, we're back to
Pretty
the
much,
side
yeah.
characters, and what the hell's happening here? Why are the lights turning off?
This is when they mutiny back. And she says,
Yes.
"Pew."
Oh, double mutiny. So Poe is in a franticness of trying to make sure that they are prepared and ready to go, and hit hyperdrive when they where Finn and Rose bring down the tracking. Guy opens the door. There we go. And there's the thing that is tracking them. They have a machine. They're almost there. They go inside, and unfortunately, your boy, little rolly ball, shows up and says, "Nope, not today, Satan." And then your girl shows up too.
Yep, Captain Phasma,
Returns.
looking all nice and shiny.
Poe's like, they didn't make it, and door explodes
Dun,
on
dun,
his
dun.
ship. Turns out,
It's Leia
yep,
using your force powers for the second time this film.
yeah. So are we counting that? Him explode. So Leia exploded the door.
That's how I always
I
uh,
couldn't tell if that was. Are we going to
comprehended
count
that.
that? Then we're at 26. 26
Oh, God.
times Jedi powers were used. Here we get the goodbye to the other person that was in charge, because she's like, "No, I'm going to stay here and I'm never going to run away," and blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
then-
because apparently they needed somebody to like pilot the ship still for it to keep going.
did they?
I
think
thought
she
that was
just
the reason.
chose.
She's like, "Oh, somebody has to stay behind to," which ends up coming handy later.
Yes. So now we're back to Rey and Kylo.
Yep,
And-
Snoke's still fucking around with them.
Pretty much. We're just gonna skip all that. Says you need to tell me where Luke is. Whatever.
Hmm.
We're back to the side characters. Leia explains there's a planet over there that we're gonna land on. Has an old base. Oh, cool. Great. We move on. Poe finally agrees that that's an okay plan.
Mhm.
Back to Finn and Rose. They are captured, and then things aren't looking too great for them. Turns out the guy that was shady turned out to be shady.
Yep.
Now I want to
He
know
goes to
though,
the highest bidder.
what was the thing that he told them to get him out of the scenario? Like, when did he do that? When did he have time?
He tells them about the escape pods to crate. So I
they
guess it's
told
presumed
him that.
Yes, I think they're on the ship, like around the time that she gives him the necklace. They're
Yeah.
explaining or I think when Poe's talking to them, they're explaining the plan that's going on, and so that's
Mhm.
how he figures that out.
Got it. So that okay. So he just knew information, and he was like, all right, well, I might as well just use it all
Yeah.
to save myself.
And at some point, he realized that they were compromised, so that's apparently when he turned on them.
Yeah. But when did he have time to do that? Like, you know what I
That
mean?
is not explained very well. I guess it's through his magical computer hacking. He's like, oh, they saw us, and then
Of
he did that.
wires and no screen?
Yep.
Anyway, we're back to Rey and Kylo. Snoke's still talking about how, like, hey, just so you know, we're blowing up all those guys that were escaping.
Yep.
And then we see Rey with a red lightsaber for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Remember they used that heavily in the marketing.
Yep. And Kylo's still in his mind thinking about, what should I do here?
Yeah. Because
And
Snoke is wanting him to, I believe, execute Rey at this moment.
Yes. But it's interesting. He's doing all the things that he's saying. Like, he
just differently.
turns the lightsaber, which he actually is, but he's doing it two different ways.
Yeah.
And then to strike his
Multitasking.
foe. Yeah. It turns out that happened to be Snoke,
Dun,
which
dun,
I
dun.
also think totally punked out character. This
Mhm.
this guy literally just talks the whole time, does not do anything,
Yeah.
and and he gets punked out. So, back to the Finn and Rose story. They're just like, oh yeah, well we really were screwed, and then we're back to Rey and Kylo again, and now they're fighting.
Cool lightsaber scene.
Now who are these guys? They're just
I think they're called the Praetorian Guard or something. They're
They-
literally just guards. They're like the same kind of guards that like Sidious had in the original trilogy, which is cooler.
Now it's interesting that so we just saw that scene right there, right? Where he's taking it and he's wrapping it around his armor, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is he doing that and not slicing his arm off? You know what I mean?
With their own weapons.
Yeah.
Well, I think their things are like
Oof.
yeah, I'm not sure. They're like vibro blades or kind of similar. You talking like that right there, where it's against his armor.
Yeah, but then apparently the lightsaber has effects to it. It's just very weird.
Yeah, I guess it's weird. Yeah, it's powerful enough to block a lightsaber, but not as powerful as a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like it chooses when it's convenient to be like lethal. It's just I don't know, very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, like right here he just
Blocks it with his
blocks it
armor.
with his armor. Yeah,
Which, as far as we know,
he
the one
blocks
that
a
can do that
lightsaber.
is,
For those that don't know, like a guy literally one of the knights takes his arms, throws it up into his face, and then
mhm.
Kylo smacks his lightsaber against the forearms, and then but it doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. But
Yeah.
then we just saw Rey kill a guy that with the lightsaber by just slicing him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the only thing we know that blocks the lightsaber is the Mandalorian armor that they use.
Mm-hmm.
But
So now Kylo and Rey are trying to convince one another to join their side. Blah 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 blah. Emotions crying. Blah.
join
Now-
me.
We're back to the side characters, and we get one of the coolest scenes in, I think, Star Wars at all. This is definitely one of just a really really
Mhm.
cool scene.
Pretty neat.
I like how there was a disclaimer in the beginning of the movie when you got tickets to this.
Yep.
Was that like the movie contains a part in the movie where it's just completely silent.
Yeah. I mean, that got me even more excited. I was thinking, like, what is that going to be?
Yeah, where does that happen at? And so
Mhm.
this is that scene.
Fire on that cruiser!
Execute.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think why nobody else ever thought to do that in Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean,
Your
because
ship's getting ready to get blown up.
yeah, I mean that is definitely a suicide mission right there.
Mm-hmm.
And she just full on cuts the ship in half, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So now we are on Finn and Rose again. They are trying to escape, trying to get out of there in some way, shape, or form. And it looks like Phasma is gonna destroy them, but to the rescue! There were many times I almost counted BB-8 coming in clutch because
His own category in there.
he had like 4 times he did this.
Yeah. I mean, in this trilogy, it really is more so like BB-8 than R2.
Yeah.
Like, what? Then we get one more little duel between Finn and Phasma. Chrome Dome.
Yeah. And then Finn gets knocked over, and then goes, "Hey,"
Boom.
hits it. Here's the thing: I'm fine with the fact that Phasma actually got a fight scene and wasn't completely punked out. But I think this is also one of those characters that was highly underutilized in
Right.
being who she was. Because in actuality, she's just a stormtrooper with other armor. Like, that's really how they kind of treated her in this.
Yeah, she
situation.
has like no backstory or anything that makes her more interesting. She
Yeah.
just looks cool.
Yeah. Which is
Kind of definitely a Boba Fett type of character.
exactly, which obviously now Boba Fett has got his line. But the thing is, though, is this she was even better than Boba Fett because she actually did something. Like, there was a whole fight thing that happened. I mean, I guess
Right.
Boba does have that like very quick fight thing when
Wraps up Luke.
Yeah, but that's about it. He gets out of that thing real quick. So,
Maybe Phasma will get redeemed one day. Spin-off thing.
yeah. So yeah, Husk is seeing.
Yeah, now he's thinking, ooh, Kylo's down, Snoke is down. If I just finish off Kylo.
Yeah.
Too
That
late.
was a very funny moment, though. Just
Yeah.
he was like, "All right."
Fits his
never mind."
character pretty well.
Yeah. So yeah, Kylo's essentially saying like, "I'm the one in charge now, right?"
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Yeah, you're in charge now." And then that's pretty
Mhm.
much that whole scenario. Back to the side characters. Rose and Finn finally meet back up with them. They are now reunited, so now we have the full side team rolling in deep. They're stuck in this like cave. That's pretty much that whole scenario. The First Order is now on the planet, and they are ready to go. Little fight scene
Yeah.
happens here, and this is kind
Trying
of
to
cool.
stop this like Death Star type thing from blowing the door down.
Yeah, a little reverse situation going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the Millennium Falcon shows up, and now Rey's
Yeah.
storyline is now collided.
Dun-dun. We're all here. We're at the climax.
Yep. But it would just be too good to have her actually fighting with the rest of them, so she goes off and takes the TIE fighters away from the city.
Yeah,
And,
it's like a distraction.
Yep. So now we're back to the side characters. They're doing their thing, trying to blow this thing up. And here is one of the weirdest decisions in this whole entire movie.
Yeah, they didn't let Finn do it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Duly, they would have killed off one of the three main characters that is currently in the new trilogy, right?
Mhm.
But which would have been kind of like, okay, so now what? Now that Finn's dead, like, what do we do? But it was weird that Rose was like, I mean, it's not weird, I guess, that she chose to save him, but like to stop him from doing this is just very weird.
Mhm.
And
It
I
definitely would
guess,
have been a good moment if they let him sacrifice himself. That would have been pretty powerful, I think.
oh yeah, because like you're emotionally ready for this to happen. You're ready for Finn to just die, to just sacrifice himself, end the scenario, and put his life on the line here. But then Rose is like, nope, it's not gonna happen, and then fucking ends that scenario. And then they blow up the fucking wall. So-
Yep.
But it was weird. So Rose then explains, "Oh, well, you got to save the ones you love, right?" And then kisses him in the
And then she
most
passes out.
in the most weird way. Though, watch this kiss. This right here is what we call no chemistry kiss. That is very one-sided of a situation, which I guess makes
Yeah.
sense because she kind of surprised him on this, but he was ready for that kiss. It was just very weird because you're kind of like, that was undeserved. Like, I don't know, but okay. But here, I'll play devil's advocate about this. She loses her sister. She has no one left. She hangs out with this guy on this life-threatening mission. They
And
make
she
it out of
idolized
it.
him ahead of time too.
Yeah, they make it out of that. They're together. Then she sacrifices her life for him, thus maybe a spark for her. But that's not really what Finn is in for, because
He wasn't feeling that. No.
yeah, he's like,
He's
oh,
like,
you're
where's
just
Ray?
yeah,
Where's
where's
Ray,
Ray?
Ray?
That's the whole reason why he's doing what he's doing. It's very interesting. He's like, oh shit. So, yeah, I'll let you take the reins on this next couple scenes here.
Well, yeah, everything's it's kind of gone to shit now. So like I said, yeah, they're about to blow the door down. They've lost all hope. They're talking about now how they put those calls out to the Outer Rim. Nobody's answered back, so there's no allies coming. When all hope is lost, Luke Skywalker comes in.
A New Hope.
Now I wonder here, does she know that he's not actually
I think right
there?
about, let's see, where's the, they give them like a look to each other. Right there. Wait, hold on.
Because doesn't he give her the dice?
He gives her the dice, and then I think she realizes something. There's like a look they exchange here. Oh, when they touch each other. That's right. He's like,
yeah.
right here, and then she goes, wait. And he's like, yeah. And I think at that moment, that's when she goes, these are Force dice, and you're not actually here, but I appreciate the fact that you're here. And this is the last time that we see Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher together, which is a very sad moment, but, you know, here we are.
Yeah.
Though tastefully done. Very tastefully done, though.
Yeah. Cool moment. Everybody's in awe as he's walking out.
He has his haircut. He has his Luke haircut.
Yeah, he's got a different look to him because I guess he could probably, suppose make himself look like whatever he wants to.
Yeah. And then they just
And they were like, fire on that man.
Yeah. Wait, where's the? Oh wait, there's that part.
Oh, and Hux is like, are you done yet?
Well, we get this.
Oh yeah.
More. And there's just a plume of red smoke now being launched into the air.
I didn't even put two and two together when I watched it the other day about the meme.
Oh, there's so many memes from this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's happening. And then Husk like, you think you got him? Well, he didn't.
Nope.
And then you get the nice little shoulder brush here.
Yeah, play the part.
But the thing is what's weird is, like, this is a totally different Luke, I feel, than what we had in the first, like, 2 hours and 10 minutes of this movie. It's just very weird. Like, the whole character shift. But I guess, like, he's now coming to terms of, like, oh, I'm going to be... Yeah, oh, yeah. There's that.
Mean to Hux.
Supreme Leader, don't get distracted. Our goal.
Jeez.
Right away, sir.
Yeah. So Finn miraculously has, like, bobsledded Rose back to the...
I was thinking that. I was like, man, it just went far away to get all the way back.
I know. Like, that's gotta be, like, how did nobody notice? And how did they not get, like, obliterated from the, like, shots that happened? It's just very weird.
Yeah, guess Luke's a good distraction.
I guess so. Just enough. So they're like, let them fight. And so...
Yeah, like, while we get the hell out of here, which was the goal, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be a turning moment for him. Because earlier, you would have presumed that he would have been like, oh yeah, let's go out there and help him. He's like, no, we got to save what's left of the resistance.
True. Yeah. More character development for Poe.
Mm-hmm.
So Rey figures out, oh, there's another entryway for the cave that everyone's all trapped in, and so she goes down there, force rocks, move them, and then they all run out and start loading up the place. And then we get this cool battle between Luke and Kylo, and then he starts to realize, oh wait, you're not actually real. And he gives the one line of. Strike me down and, I'll be essentially haunting your ass forever sort of line.
Right.
I may be paraphrasing, but,
Yeah, something like I'll be with you forever or something.
Yeah. So he disappears. Kylo goes, oh, shit, they're actually leaving. We go back to Luke's island, and Luke is...
Yeah, it just depleted him so much that... Time to go.
Yep. sees that
Just
sun.
passes away into the sunset. Yep.
Yeah. And Leia and Rey feel it of it happening, and he goes into the breeze.
Which is kind of a neat thing. They kind of alluded to it earlier in the film because Kylo tells Rey when they first have their first like meeting, he's like, "Oh, how are you doing this? This amount of force power would kill you." So they kind of planted the seeds that if you do something a little too extraneous, that it might kill you.
Yeah.
Force.
Yeah, because she's not really like she doesn't know how to do that yet, so it's
right.
like for her to use that much amount, it would be life threatening. But they do one last minute connection. Rey closes the. Yeah, go ahead.
Closes the door on him.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, literally and figuratively.
That was kind of cool. Like the phase through there, the dice. Chewbacca hugs Leia, and Rey and Poe meet for the first time. It took them almost 2 whole movies for them to meet each other, and they finally meet each other.
Every time I see that, I'm still surprised that's the first time. It's like, wait a minute, we went 2 full movies?
Yeah, it is very, very weird that there's no dynamic between them. So yeah, there's all that. Rose and Finn kind of end their story over there, like him tucking her in. Rey and Leia start talking to each other about how, like, did you feel that? And of Luke dying. And then that's it. That's the end of the story for them. They hit hyperdrive and go away.
All the resistance can fit on the Millennium Falcon.
I know. That was another thing I was thinking when I was watching it. And then this is what bugs me. So he's telling this story, right? And these kids are talking. Yeah. And
because he has the figures in the ground.
So how do they know this story?
I was thinking about that too. I don't know if you're supposed to infer that this is like maybe a little bit further
But it's
out.
not though, because
so the story,
this kid is the one that helps him escape. Yeah. So Broom Kid is what everyone named him because he does the little force thing and grabs the broom and stuff. It's just very weird. There's just a lot to this movie that is totally unexplained. They don't need to, like, they touch it and then they walk away and they're like, yeah, because that's the thing. And you're like, I guess that's a thing. But this kid bugs
definitely
me.
want you to make a lot of inferences.
And that's it, based on characters of George Lucas. Directed by Rian Johnson. We're done. End of movie.
No, I'm sure every time George Lucas sees that, he's probably like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, great. Glad I was a part of the project.
Yeah, the first name on the thing.
So let's head into IMDb Corner. This is where we look at IMDb and we look at some of the fun facts and trivia that happen to lurk upon here. One of my favorite things is called Taglines. These are the taglines used to advertise the movie on the movie posters. They would use these and kind of advertise the movie. So the first one is "Let the past die." Which I don't remember seeing that one. Always in motion is the future. I don't remember any of these like actually being
during
used.
the marketing.
Yeah,
not really.
And then the last one is Light Years Ahead. Discover Dolby Cinema.
That one kind of sounds familiar, but only because I know that we saw it in Dolby Cinema one time.
Yeah. And that's it. There's only 3. So let us move on to the next part, which is trivia. Nate, this is your thing. For those back at home, what this is trivia about the movie. Nate's gonna read off, let's say 8.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. How many you want to go? It's your choice this time.
Let's do 5.
5 it is. 5 trivia facts about the movie. Okay, go on. Number 1.
So, the 3 resistance fighters who pop up from the trenches on Crate are Mark Hamill's children.
Huh. The one that he goes, salt.
He tastes the sand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, God, they look kind of old too, but I suppose Mark Hamill was pretty old.
Yeah, Mark Hamill. All right, number 2.
There was a lot of discussion about how Captain Phasma's face should look under her helmet. It was Daisy Ridley who suggested that her eye should appear unscarred and human. Interesting.
That was kind of a good choice. I mean, I liked that of that. Like, oh yeah, we're just gonna see like a little glimpse of her. Like,
Yeah, you can kind of tell a little bit who like the actor actually was.
yeah,
She kind of looked like.
yeah. And she was from Game of
See-
Thrones, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name from Game of Thrones, but yeah.
Number 3.
Let's see here. Although Disney decided not to use George Lucas's story outlines for episode 7, 8, and 9 after the purchase of his company, a couple of Lucas's ideas surfaced in this film, including Luke Skywalker living as a recluse and training a female Jedi.
Oh,
It says in his outline her name was Kira.
that is interesting. But I'm sure Luke was not supposed to be.
Yeah, from my understanding, it was a lot different though.
Yeah, as
Besides the
cynical
fact
as
that
he
she's a
was.
female, that's the only similarity really.
Yeah. Number 4.
I changed my hair was a line that Carrie Fisher ad-libbed herself.
Oh, when Luke and that is a good line. That is a very good line. I know what
Yeah.
you're thinking. I know what you're gonna say. I changed my hair, and then Mark Hamill kind of smirks at that. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good off the cuff.
And number 5, our last fact.
R2-D2's hologram of Princess Leia was recreated with original footage shot for Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope.
Well, I would think so. All right. We move on to quotes. So these are some interesting quotes that were said throughout the movie. Let's do 5 again. I'll do this one here. This is between Luke and Yoda. Yoda appears as a ghost. Master Yoda! Yoda. Young Skywalker. Luke Skywalker. I'm ending all of this. The tree, the text, the Jedi. I'm going to burn it all down. Yoda summons lightning to burn down the tree and the Jedi text. He laughs. Oh, Skywalker, missed you, have I? So it is time for the Jedi to end. Time is for you to look past a pile of old books. The sacred text, or the sacred Jedi texts. Oh, read them, have you? Page turners they were not. Yes. Wisdom they held, but the liberty, or the library contained nothing that the girl Rey does not already possess. Skywalker still looking to the horizon. Never here. Now, the need in front of your nose. Now, I'm going to pause here. That right there, that line, he literally just told Luke she has the books. So burning the library down doesn't mean a damn thing. Because, like, we just burned the library. She has the text, so she has them. That's just how it is. Luke Skywalker. I was weak, unwise. Lost Ben Solo, you did. Lose Rey, we must not. I can't be what she wants me to be. Heed my words. Did you pass on what you have learned? Strength, mastery, but weakness, folly, failure also. Yes, failure most of all. The greatest teacher failure is. Luke, we are what they grow beyond. This is the true burden of all masters. And that's it. But it's like...
Welcome from the main master himself.
Yeah. The next one here, number 2, is Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker. I'll destroy her and you and all of it. No. Strike me down in anger and I'll always be with you, just like your father. And that's it. Number 3 here is from Leia. Hope is like the sun. If you only believe it when you see it, you'll never make it through the night. Does she actually say that?
Yeah, I think that's like the very, very last scene when they're in the Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
Because Rey is like, what are we going to do? Like, this is all we have.
Yeah, because they, like, reference it before where they're like, oh, yeah, she says this all the time. And it's like, I've never fucking heard her say that ever. So, okay. Number 4. Snoke to Kylo Ren. You are no Vader. you are just a child in a mask.
Those burns
And
out there.
yeah, and the last one is Luke Skywalker. Wait, well, never mind. I'm not gonna read that one. That was dumb. Kylo Ren and Rey. Kylo Ren. You're not alone. Rey. Neither are you. And that I feel is a good one to to end on in preparation for the next one. The last one is tech specs. So Nate, why don't you go ahead and walk us through some tech specs about the movie?
Okay. So it was officially 2 hours and 32 minutes. This is pretty. It's got all the nice modern trimmings on it. Atmos, IMAX sound. I was filmed with a bunch of different cameras. IMAX cameras, 4K, 6K, 3.4K. Mastered in Dolby Vision. And yeah, I think that's mostly it. Anything notable you see?
Well, I mean, so yeah, that's the one thing is this was all shot digitally. And
Yeah,
like,
wasn't that one of the? I remember that being a kind of a controversy.
yeah, so the reason why Star Wars can feel timeless is because it's shot on 70 millimeter film, and when something is shot on film, it can be rendered into digital at any real size. That's why like a lot of old movies that were shot on film can be like upgraded to high res 4K releases, and they look format wise, they look fine. They don't look all weird and wonky. Whereas when you shoot stuff digitally, like when you go back and watch like a movie like The Matrix, which I believe that movie was all shot in digital, it looks weird and it doesn't hold up because like being remastered, it wasn't shot that way, or any movie that's shot digitally, it's very weird. It does say the negative format is 35 and 65 millimeter film. I'm pretty sure most of the stuff they used was shot digital, but it was mixed. It was 35 and 65.
It sounded like maybe just a couple scenes perhaps were on film.
Yeah, but there are some parts where it just isn't, and that's why when you look at JJ's movies, like Episode 7 and 9, those were shot on all film. So that was how they were. And it's to preserve the movie. It takes a lot longer and it costs a lot more because it's film. Because once you shoot something on film, it's done. You took the picture. It's over. But it's able to have this timeless look to it, and they all kind of look the same. That's why when you jump from 6 to 7, there isn't this jarring look to the movie that's like, whoa, that's kind of weird. It looks new, but it's not as jarring visually. So, but yeah. So that's it. That's all the IMDb Corner. It's now time to review the movie. Nate, what are we got? What are you gonna go for here on well, I almost said something else. On the Primal Target scale. If you want to,
Or you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna say, do you want me to run through what all the ratings mean? But if you're ready to go, then
go through it.
Ratings mean so we have 0 to 10, so it's like a 110 point scale technically. But at 0 to 0.9 is trash, 1 to 1.9 is unplayable, 2 to 2.9 is horrific, 3 to 3.9 is terrible, 4 to 4.9 is mediocre, 5 to 5.9 is meh, 6 to 6.9 is borrow, 7 to 7.9 is worthy, so like worthy of owning, 8 to 8.9 is marvelous, 9 to 9.9 is a must-have, and 10 is groundbreaking. Nate, take it away.
So, I was actually going to give it something a little bit higher before watching it again Sunday, but I do think I'm still going to give it a high score. I'm going to give it I think it's a 9.
Wow, a 9.
Yeah, I actually really like The Last Jedi, but I do recognize, especially going through it again, there are some unexplained stuff, some like logic things that are a little off. I think just overall from the music to the tension, I think it has some of the best action scenes too of any of the Star Wars movies. The space battles I think is good. Yeah, I just really to me this one's actually, I'm probably in the minority on this one, but I think this one's up there for to Empire for me. It hits a lot of those same beats. The Luke thing, I know a lot of people they would have preferred if he would have showed up in person, but I actually liked the kind of how they subverted your expectations a little bit. How he didn't actually show up, but he was powerful enough to force project himself across the galaxy to be able to do that, to essentially save the Resistance one more time and to spark that hope.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's it's one of the ones I think I enjoy watching the most too. I think the humor is really good, and we talked about that earlier. It's a little bit different. I feel like it's kind of more of a Marvel style humor where it's a little bit more in your face, but yeah, I don't know. I really like it.
Okay. So you gave it a 9.
Hmm.
Okay.
I wanted to give it a 9.5.
Well, okay. I'm glad it didn't go that high. So I'm a little more cynical on this movie. This is probably the second Star Wars movie that I've seen the most of. So
behind Force Awakens.
Yeah, probably go 7, then 8, then probably Episode 1 to be honest, and then probably 9. So with that said, here it is. There's so much to this movie that I don't like, only because it just seems like it's all over the place. Like at one point, when I watched this the first time, and for years since this movie has come out back in 2017, which is crazy to even think about that. That's been years now. But I always said the Rose and Finn storyline was useless. It didn't need to be there. It doesn't make any sense of why they're doing what they're doing. In the long run, if you were to whittle this down into how the story is actually told, like how I said, where it's like you have the Rey story, the Kylo story, the side character story, and then eventually the side character story actually births a new story of Finn and Rose doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. So they needed to do that in order to, like, they actually had a mission and a reason to actually go there, was to get the guy that they were supposed to get there. They didn't do that. It was a waste of their time because they literally showed up, didn't get the guy, and left. But all of that there's so many things that like could have happened that didn't happen. Like it's all about could have, but it didn't. So therefore, here's the effect of the reasoning on why it didn't happen. They could have got the guy. They parked on the beach, so therefore they got arrested. They meet the guy. They meet another dude that's shady as hell, and they're like, yeah, this guy is saving us. Let's go with him. And they go on that ship and leave. And that's it. It's like that's how they got him. Like, it's only because BB-8 was with him and they left.
A chance, yeah.
Yeah. Then the guy screws him over, and it was a complete waste of time because none of what they were going to do actually transpired. Like, you see what they were about to do, and then it doesn't happen. So their mission was failed, which I don't think you don't see that happen in Star Wars very often, where their mission flat out fails, and nothing comes of it, or negative things come of it. So that happens. They leave, and they eventually reunite with the rest of the crew. Rey's storyline is literally just Luke and her, and that could easily be like 20 minutes. Like that I don't even know how much of that back and forth it is, because it's a lot of like, oh, we're with her, now we're not. We're with her, but now we're not. We're with her, and now we're not. Like, it's just really interesting. It's like a filler episode is like shoved inside this movie with Rose and Finn, and I feel like those characters, though, like, you could have made Rose's like whole entire thing of like very vengeful, of like uniting and we should be together, and that's why she's helping him, and that's eventually why she falls in love with him, sort of. But it's just very weird that we get introduced to this character and she's now being like shoved into the already like dynamic between, like, we didn't really need her, if that makes sense. Like, the only reason why we needed her was to save Finn from committing suicide. Like, that was kind of it. Yeah, and to also have like a pendant around her neck that had a conductive like shock that allowed the guy to bust open the thing. Anyway, long story short, there's a lot to this movie that just is very weird and doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie though. Because that's the real thing. That's what MovieKombat's all about. Does the movie fit inside the parameters of what all of these movies are supposed to be? Is it a Star Wars movie? Yes. I will have to say yes. You have the lightsabers. You have a lot of the Force stuff. It's utilized very well. The characters that are in there that are Force sensitive, use them properly. Even when they're using them to sneak around, like Kylo using his like mind because Snoke's reading it, but he's doing things the same time as he's like doing the thing that he's reading his mind of. It like all makes sense. And does it feel like a Star Wars movie? Yes. Does it feel like a very good one? Not really. That's why my rating is a 7.5. I don't think it's anywhere really near the other ones because there's just so many. It's just kind of weird that the whole premise of the movie is literally just a high speed, like a technically, well, here I'll just use it, a high space car chase like until you run out of gas. That's literally the whole premise and the whole plot, if you look at the side characters. So that's why I have to say it's just a very not so good plot holding, like a plot. It's just not very good. So that's why I had to give it a 7.5. But Nate's 9 brings it up, and so its final score is an 8.4. An 8.4, which makes it a marvelous movie. So I hope you're happy, Nate.
Isn't the Rotten Tomato score like a 93 on it?
I hope
the IMDb is actually, I think it's raised a little bit. It was like a 6.9 on IMDb.
Let's see here. On IMDb, it is a 6.9. It's actually gone down.
I remember has it gone down? Because I remember in the beginning, people were like, I mean, the audience score, I don't know about IMDb, but on Rotten Tomato, it was like a 40% or something. It was like super low.
Yeah, Metacritic actually has it at an 84. So there you go.
Yeah, it was a weird
right
movie that critics loved, but most Star Wars fans did not like it.
Yeah.
Hardcore, yeah. Which is basically what you're saying, and I kind of got that vibe when I watched it too. That it's probably the least feeling of a Star Wars movie of any of that have come out. So that's probably why there was such a gap there.
Yeah. So there you go. Any final words for our 8.4 that we gave Star Wars? What is this one? The Last Jedi.
You almost forgot the name again.
Yeah, I always forget the last part of it. So Star Wars
Yeah.
Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Any final words for it?
No. The only thing I'll say with Rose's character is I think at this time in the movie, I think it's only bad because of what we know that she's not a big part in the next film.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like she was set up to be a bigger character, but I think because there was so much fan backlash that her role was really reduced. So that kind of hurt her reasoning to be in this film.
Yeah, I'm looking at the IMAX poster here.
Which looks cool. The marketing was great for this movie.
Yeah, but like Rose is so small. I almost like from the thumbnail, like looking at it, you can't even. I didn't even know she was on the poster. I just kind of was like, all right. But yeah. Oh man. But
Gotta sign in now.
yeah. Get this away from me.
One more movie left.
Yes. Why don't you tell us the homework? What are we doing?
Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to be the end of the Skywalker saga.
Yes. And the end of our Star Wars MovieKombat season 2.
Unless we take so much time that another one comes out before we finish.
No, I don't. I think we're okay. I don't think one's gonna sneak up out of nowhere.
Surprise 2021 release.
There's only a couple months, so hopefully we can get it done before then.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched it on YouTube, if you listened to it on iTunes and Podbean, please rate and subscribe. It helps us out. Post comments, say that you like the show, and what you guys want us to do in future movie combats. We'll add it to the list that keeps growing daily, honestly. But yeah, that's going to be it. That is Star Wars Episode 8. Again, the final score is an 8.4, which is a marvelous rating on the Primal Target official score. That's it. I guess we'll see you guys in the next episode, the season finale. Good night, everybody.
Peace out.